Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session on GST update, which is mainly recent clarifications from the 47th Council meeting. Last month, there were a lot of notifications and clarifications have come. However, there were some points which have been already discussed in the Council meeting, but they have not been notified. They have been now clarified by Circular 177, 178, and 179. Today, we would be discussing on multiple aspects. The first and foremost is change in GSTR 3B. Second, on the clarification. Third, the e-invoicing that is going to come. I am CA Venugopal Gella, practicing chartered accountant since last 2 decades, and I specialize in the area of indirect taxes and the technology. With me, I have my colleague Ashika Agarwal, I have Jagdish, who would also be taking the session along with me. And on the tech session, so my other colleague Babu would be joining. So on this note, we would be starting the session. Jagdish, would you be starting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. You can share the
Okay.
share the screen or you'll share.
Can you please make me host, sir?
Yeah, one moment. Yes, you can.
Okay. This would be the coverage of today's session. Is my voice audible, sir?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. This is the coverage of today's session. I will take you through the changes in GSTR 3B, and clarification and e-invoicing will be taken up by Ashika and Venu, sir. So we'll see. I will take you through the what are the changes proposed in the GSTR 3B and its impact, and then I will compare the existing 3B with the proposed new GSTR 3B. And then at the end, I will take the example with the figures and will try to explain what are the changes. Okay. And coming to this, first I will discuss about the changes that have been made with respect to the outward supplies. And then we'll discuss about the reporting changes with respect to the ITC. So coming to the outward supplies, there are no much changes with respect to the outward supplies. Only one thing is that they have inserted a new table called 3.1.1, which is after the table 3.1. So we'll see what is table 3.1.1 in due course. And after that, 3.2. 3.2, this table is already existed in the current GSTR 3B, but what they are asking is furnish the details with the correct place of supply. Okay, that will also will discuss in detail what is 3.2 and what they have discussed in the circular. So I will go through the each table wise and we'll see the changes. What are the changes that have been made in the each table? First, we will see that first table 3.1, that is for the outward supplies. As far as this table is concerned, there is no change except they have inserted. They have inserted these wordings other than those covered in the table 3.1.1 that we'll discuss after this slide. So other than that, there is no changes with respect to this table 3.1. Moving on to the table 3.1.1. First, we will see what is table 3.1.1. This is the table they have inserted. So in this, what they are saying is details of the supplies notified under section 9, subsection 5 of CGST Act are required to be reported here in this table. So we'll see what is section 9 subsection 5 is saying. So specified supplies which are making through the e-commerce operator on which taxes are required to be paid by the e-commerce operator. These are all the specified supplies which are notified by the section 17 circular notification number 17/2017. We'll see what are all the specified supplies. First one is the transportation of passengers by radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, and motorcycle, and hotel accommodation, inns, guest house, clubs, campsites, or other commercial places, except for residential or lodging purpose, except where the supplier is registered. In case of supplier is registered, e-commerce operator is not required to pay tax under RCM. And coming to the next one, housekeeping such as plumbing, carpenting, etc., except where the supplier is registered. Housekeeping services. Now we can see all these services provided by like service provider, Urban Clap, like, and supply of restaurant services. All these services are covered under RCM, on which e-commerce operator is required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5. That is under RCM. So we'll see who are all the persons impacted because of this change. E-commerce supplier who are making supplies to the e-commerce operator, like in case of Uber or Ola, cab drivers are impacting. In case of hotels who are supplying through the Swiggy, Zomato, and small service providers, restaurants selling through the online platforms like Urban Club, all the things. And these are all required to report in this table 3.1.1. And also the online service providers who are the e-commerce operators like Ola, Uber, Swiggy. All these are also required to report in the table 3.1.1. So now we'll see where e-commerce operator is required to report and where registered supplier who is making supplies to the e-commerce operator required to report those details. If we see the table 3.1.1 clause 1, this is for the e-commerce operator. So all the supplies which e-commerce operator is supplying, on which e-commerce operator is required to report all his output supplies here. Okay, and coming to the clause 2, this is for the suppliers who are making supplies to the e-commerce operator. Okay, this is what to be furnished by the e-commerce operator. This is the actual supplier who is making through the e-commerce operator is required to furnish the details here. Okay, hope this is clear. One is for the e-commerce operator and 2 is for the actual supplier who is making supplies to the e-commerce operator. This is all about the table 3.1.1.
One moment, can you just go back to the previous slide? Yeah. So the members, be here. So the members, the point I would like to drive here is, let's take a small example. I am a restaurant selling at the restaurant and also selling through online. Now, when I'm making a sale through online, through say Swiggy, Zomato, all this, the liability has been shifted to the online service provider. So I am not the one who has to pay taxes. It's an online service provider who has to pay the taxes to the government. So he would be collecting the money from the customer, the restaurant bill and the tax amount, and they would be depositing. Now, from the P&L perspective, what will be there in the sales P&L of the restaurant? You will see 2 categories of the sales. Sales they have directly made to the customer, sales that have made through e-commerce operator. Now, from the audit and assessment perspective, if all the sales are there together, they're taxable supplies, but the tax is discharged only a small portion, it would little get skewed. So for the ease of assessment, they have carved out and said, okay, let us have it be reported separately. So you can see 3.1.1, the clause 2, where they will be reporting only turnover. If you notice, the tax related portion is graded out. So they don't need to pay any taxes. The taxes have to be paid by the e-com operator. Next, look at from the e-commerce operator P&L. For an e-commerce operator, he is only facilitating this transaction. For example, Flipkart, Amazon, and all these players, they are not the actual sellers. There is a seller, someone, buyer, someone. Likewise, in Swiggy and Zomato, neither Swiggy is a restaurant nor Zomato is a restaurant. In the P&L of the Swiggy and Zomato, you will not find this as their turnover. So, given that there is no turnover and there has to be a liability, even to reconcile this portion, this portion, you will have to ensure that there is a liability which is coming arising out of a deeming fiction. That is 9 subsection 5. It is again different from a reverse charge. It's different from reverse charge. So you have to have it reported. So that is why they brought it as a separate entry 311. And the first line is for e-commerce operator. The second line is for suppliers who are supplying through e-commerce operator. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please put in the chat and we'll continue to take the questions as and it would come. And again, we'll have a Q&A at the end. Please continue, Jagdish.
Okay. Coming to the table 3.2. This table is already existed in the current GSTR 3B, but what they are asking in the circular that if any interstate supplies made to unregistered person, composition taxpayers and UN holders, they need to
slide is still on 3.1.1.
Now is it okay, sir?
I am still seeing, I don't know. Ashika, is the slides moving? I guess it is still in 3.1.1, Jagdish.
Okay, we'll reshare it. Okay.
You can. Yeah, you can click on the resume slideshow.
Okay,
Yeah.
is it now? Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
This table is already exist in the current GSTR 3B, but what they are asking is to report the interstate supplies made to unregistered person, composition taxpayers, and UN holder with the correct place of supply, because that is the base for settlement of funds between the center and the state. Many of the people taking this table as an optional, but from now onwards, from the coming months onwards, this table is required to mandatorily fill. Okay. Even e-commerce operator is also required to furnish the details in this table 3.2. So this is the table. All the interstate supplies made to this unregistered composition and UN holders, the correct place of supply need to require to report details in table 3.2. Okay. Move on to the next slide. So these are all the changes with respect to the outward supply. Now we'll see what are the changes with respect to the input tax credit. This is the table 4. I have marked the changes in the red color. Coming to the table 4A. 4A is for the ITC. Most of the tables in the table 4A will be auto-populated except 4A2, because this GSTR 3B is not that intelligent enough to identify the import of service and track and compute the liability on import of service. Except this import of service, all will be auto-populated from the GSTR 2B. Okay. There is no change in the 4A. Coming to the 4B. 4B1. Earlier, we used to report reversal under Rule 42 and 43 under this 4B1. Now, in addition to that, blocked credit under Section 17, subsection 5 and Rule 38 is added here. They are saying, circular saying that all the permanent reversals are required to be report here in the table 4B1. Coming to the 4B2, others. In this, we need to disclose all the temporary reversals, like if we know that the credit which we can reclaim in the future, like if we not made the payment to a vendor within 180 days, then in that case, after making the payment, we are eligible to take the credit. Also, we have received the invoice but not received the goods. In that case, we are not eligible to take the credit in that period. But after receiving that goods, we are eligible to take the credit. That is temporary reversals. For the current period, I am not eligible to take the credit. But for the subsequent period, I am eligible to take the credit. All such credits are required to be reported in this 4B2. So 4B1 is for permanent reversals that we cannot be reclaimed in the future. And 4B2 is for the temporary reversal. This is the reversal credit that I can be avail in the subsequent period. So 4B, 4A minus 4B. 4A is the gross credit and 4B is the reversals. 4C is the net credit, which will be credited to my ECL, electronic credit ledger. This amount will go to the ECL. Okay. And coming to the table 4D. Earlier, we used to report the ineligible credit. This is for the disclosure purpose only. Okay. Now this heading has been changed to the others. Here we in the 4D1 we used to disclose the blocked credit. So now in 4D1 we need to report the ITC which was reclaimed, which was reversed in the previous year. Here the temporary reversals we need to disclose here in the 4D1. That is nothing but whatever the credit we are claiming in the current period, which belongs to the prior period, reversed due to not satisfaction of section 16 subsection 2 or some other cases. Coming to the 4D2, ineligible ITC under section 16 subsection 4 and ITC restricted due to place of supply provisions. What is section 16 subsection 4? We'll see. This is the time limit within which we should take the we should avail the ITC in GSTR 3B. Like before September 3B return, we have to avail the credit pertaining to the previous period. So if any credit which is reflecting in GSTR 2B after September return, that is ineligible, it will be auto-populated. 4D2 is all these tables will be auto-populated from the GSTR 2B. And ITC restricted due to the place of supply provisions. So we'll see if the tax, this is for different place of provisions. Let's see, I am taxpayer in Karnataka. I have received the invoice with the place of supply having Andhra Pradesh. In that case, I am not eligible to take the credit. All such credits will be auto-populated here. So we'll see one by one in detail, each table 4B and 4D. Sir, would you like to add anything?
I'll just go to next slide. I'll explain.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I just want everyone's attention here. Anyhow, we are going to go through the same thing in multiple folds. The point here is there is a contextual change in the way you report input tax credit in GSTR 3B. All this while, the way we were considering the reporting of input tax credit is whatever is eligible to me, I would report it in 4A. Whatever is ineligible, be it as a T1 credit, T2 credit, or T3. T1, T2, T3. Now mathematical number, go to rule 42. We get it used exclusively for exempt, used exclusively for non-business purpose, or blocked or ineligible credit under 17 subsection 5. Something which is not eligible, so we were not taking the credit. And we were reporting under 4D. Either it as 17.5 or other. So the credits were segregated into two categories. Eligible was under 4A, ineligible was under 4D. Many people were not reporting credits under 4D. At the time of accounting itself, in the inception of accounting itself, if they know that this credit is not eligible, say it is towards building construction or the transportation of vehicles or purchase of a motor vehicle, repairs and maintenance, insurance related to motor vehicle, all these aspects, they are not even recording the input tax credit and reversing in the books of accounts. Hence, the report for reconciling with 2B itself is not there. That's how the people were reporting input tax credit all this while. But now the government has brought a change. Let's look at the reason for the change. The reason for change is in line with the thought process where the annual returns were to be furnished. If you remember table 8 of GSTR 9, where there is a reconciliation is asked between 2A versus whatever the credit you have availed. So the government now wants to say that hey, look, these are the line items that are there in your GSTR 2B or 2A. Take those credits. Whatever is eligible, you retain it. Whatever is not eligible, you take it, you remove it. How do I remove it? The removal comes by way of reversal in table 4B. Report those credits which are not eligible to you in table 4B. So you report all the credits, those which are not eligible, you will not take it. Now, those which are not eligible has been further categorized into two categories. It could not be eligible at all permanently. We call this as a permanent reversal. That would be reported under 4B1. Sometimes this credit is eligible at a later point in time. So you will report it in 4B2. And we have some examples to explain this further. I will reiterate these points again and again, but just look at the examples, look at the flow, and let's continue.
Okay, sir. So as I said earlier, most of the tables in 4A are auto-populated except 4A2, which is input of service. Okay. Coming to the table 4B1, permanent reversal. So in this, other than rule 42, 43, now section 17, subsection 5 and rule 38 has been added. Rule 38 is for the banking companies. They are having an option to take 50% of the credit and reverse 50% of the credit under rule 38. Either they have opt for this rule 38 or either follow rule 42, 43. So all these reversal should be required to be reported under 4B1 because all these are the permanent reversal. This credit, we cannot be take it in the future also. Okay. Coming to the table 4B2. This is for the temporary reversals. Right now, I am not eligible to take the credit, but in the future, I may. So all those credits, all those such type of credits are required to be reported in the table 4B2. Like I discussed earlier, if I not paid the consideration in 180 days, I need to reverse the credit. But after making the payment, I can take the credit. In that case, I need to report in the table 4B2. Similarly, in the case of goods not received and tax not paid. Yeah, let's see. In the current month, I have received the invoice and invoice is reflecting in the 2B, but I have not received the goods. In that case, as per 16 subsection 2, I am not eligible to take the credit. But in the subsequent month, I have received the goods. In that month, I can take the credit. So in the future period, I am eligible to take the credit. All those credits are required to be reported in the table 4B2. So 4B1 is for permanent reversal and 4B2 is for the temporary reversal. Okay. So as I discussed earlier, 4C, what is net ITC? 4A is the gross ITC as reduced by the permanent reversal and temporary reversal. That's the ITC will go to my electronic credit ledger. Okay. Whatever the figures we are reporting in the 4D will not reduce it from the net credit. That is 4C. 4D1. In this, whatever the credit reversed in the previous periods that can that is reclaimed in the current period, that needs to be reported in the 4D1. Okay. Same thing, whatever we are report previous year credit availed in the current period, this credit I need to add to the table 4A5. This is the auto-populated figure. Let's say 100 rupees is my auto-populated figure and 10 rupees is the credit pertaining to the previous period. Now I will add 10 rupees to that 100 rupees. Auto-populated figure is 100 and 10 rupees is the previous period credit. So 110 will be the 4A5 figure. The same 10 rupees I require to report in the 4D1. So 10 rupees I am adding in the 4A5 and 10 rupees I am disclosing it in the 4D1. Coming to the 4D2. In this table will be auto-populated. Whole figures in the 4D2 will be auto-populated. One is having different POIs. If I am located in, as I said in the earlier example, If I having the different PYs, then that will be ineligible. So this will be different. So 42 is auto-populated. So we'll see the GSTR 2B. If my credit in GSTR 2B is marked as eligible, if yes, if all section 16 conditions are fulfilled, I can avail in the current month. So this will be auto-populated in the 4A5. So if any of the condition in section 16 is still to be fulfilled, then I will avail in the subsequent period after fulfilling the condition, section 16 condition. Then I will keep it 4A5 as it is. I will not disturb the auto-populated figure, but I will reverse that credit in the table 4B2. That is temporary reversal, because this is the credit I can avail in the future after fulfilling all the section 16 conditions. If my credit in GSTR to be is marked, okay, if my credit is ineligible, even in that case also, I will not disturb 4A5 auto-populated figure, but this is permanent reversal. Section 17, subsection 5, rule 42, 43, all these are the permanent reversal. So I will report that in the 4B1. Okay. And then if my credit in the GSTR 2B is marked as ineligible because of different place of supply, or because of section 16 subsection 4, the time bar credit. In that case, the credit will not at all auto-populated in the 4A5. It will not come to my 4A5. This figure I need to report in the 4D2 under ineligible credit. I discuss 4D2. Sir, would you like to add anything here?
Yeah, nothing much. It's just that I want the participants to now appreciate the logic or the intention behind. So they want entire line item of 2B to be reported in 4A5. Please note, entire line items of the 2B to be reported in 4A5, unless otherwise portal itself is marking as ineligible. In two situations, the portal would mark as ineligible. If the supplier is filing their GSTR1 late, now 16 subsection 4 has got to do credit that I have to avail. Why will supplier filing late? Because if you see supplier filing late after the September, R1 is linked to 2B, you are eligible to take credit only if it is in 2B. So which means you have not taken the credit all this while. So if you are taking a credit after September, you are not eligible. Hence, those credits automatically will park as ineligible under 4D2. You should pardon for using those table numbers, subtable numbers, but you got to know this if you are filing GSTR returns, or if someone is filing and you are approving it. So the government want all the credits to come to 4A5, and you decide whether you want to take the credit now or later. You want to reverse it or what? In any case, the credits would be coming under 4A5 reporting, but it will get reversed to 4B, and the net ITC is 4A minus 4B. 4C is the net ITC. So you will be taking only 4C, the net ITC. Yeah. Anyhow, we have examples. We'll explain with more examples. Please continue.
So as I said earlier, we'll see the important checkpoints and all the credit deferred to future period reporting methodology in the availing month. So as I said, in the current period, I have not fulfilled all the conditions stated in the section 16. But in the next period, I have fulfilled all the conditions. In that case, how I have to report in GSTR 3B, 4B2, that is for the temporary reversals. For that credit, I will report in the 4B2 because I will not disturb the figure in the 4A5. 4A5 can be revised upwards, but not report downwards. If my auto-populated figure is 100 rupees, I can increase that figure to higher work, because prior period credit, I'm taking the current period. That I can make it 110. But I should not make the 100 rupees auto-populated figure to 90 rupees. That is what I'm trying to saying. So here, deferred credit. Deferred credit, I need to report in the 4B2. That is the temporary reversal that I can reclaim in the future period after fulfilling all the conditions. So coming to the control checks. So 4B2. What is 4B2? The temporary reversal. All the cumulative temporary reversals should not be more than the cumulative 4D1. What 4D1? 4D1 is the reclaimed credit. So in any case, that reclaimed credit should not be more than the cumulative reversal. Okay. Coming to the 4A and then 4A5 auto-populated figure 2B. That is the this is the figure coming from the 2B in every period. So current month reported 4A5. This figure is nothing but 4A5. In this example, I have said 100 rupees can be made as 110, but not be 90. So previous year, previous period rate, I'm availing in the current period. That is 100 plus 10. I reduce it by the 41. 41, what 10 rupees I will report here. So current period to be nothing but 4A5 of that period and 41. This is 110. This is 10. 110 minus 10 is 100. This is the 100 rupees, which is auto-populated from the GSTR 2B. So total credit in 2B, 4A5 plus 4D2, auto-populated. Eligible credit, 4D2, ineligible credit. Because of this POS, place of supply difference, and the time bar credit. If we both sum it, we'll get the total credit of GSTR 2. This is the gross ITC. Only the eligible ITC will be auto-populated to the 4A5 and ineligible ITC will be auto-populated in the 4D2. Handling of temporary credits. See, situation where the line item in 2B, where my credit is reflecting 2B, but I have not accounted in books. Why I have not accounted in books? Because vendor, I have not received my goods, or my QC team has not approved the inwards, or I have not received the invoice, or else accountant has not accounted it in the books of account. There may be the several cases for not accounted in the books of account. In that case, I am not eligible. I will not take the credit in the current. What we will do in that cases? What? My invoice is reflecting into B, but I have not accounted in books. In that case, what we will do? We'll see what we'll do. So this is nothing but the temporary reversal. Let's assume that invoice belongs to us for the time being. Okay. So I will not disturb the auto-populated figure 4A5 because that invoice is reflecting in the GSTR 2B. What I will do, I will reverse it in the temporary reversal 4B2. Assuming that the invoice pertaining to me, I will receive it in the subsequent period. So I will take the credit here and reverse under temporary reversal 4B2. Okay. So month in which in the next period, I have accounted in my books. What I will do in that period. So again, I will not disturb this figure, but previous year, what I have reversed in the earlier period in the 4B2, I will add it here, 4D1, 4A plus 4A5 plus 4D1, and re-reporting the credit. And the previous year credit, what I have in the current period, I will report it in the 4D1. Okay. What I'm doing in the for auto-populated figure, I'm adding the previous period credit, and I'm disclosing it in the 4D1. So the same what I have discussed in the previous slides, I will try to explain with the figures. See, in the 2B, 150 credit reflecting, but in the books, I don't have any credit. In the month 2, I don't have any credit, but the same invoice I have accounted in the month 2. We'll see how to report it in the GSTR 3B, 4A5. For that month, auto-populated figure will come to 450. And I will, because of that invoice I have not accounted, so I am reversing it on the temporary reversals under 4B to 150. So net ITC for that period is 0. Okay. Coming to the month 2. Now I have accounted that invoice. So what I will do, auto populated figure will be 0, but I will add this 150, add this credit pertaining to the previous period. Okay. 4B2, I will the same figure. What I am availing this period credit in this month, I will report it in the 41. This is the net ITC. This will go to my ECL. Okay. Any doubts in this? Sir, would you like to add anything in this?
No, please continue.
Okay. Hope you all understand this one. So I will take another example, a full example. 4A1, import of goods. This will be auto-populated directly from the IceGate. Now it is auto-populated from the GST portal. That from IceGate portal, it is transmitting to GST portal, and from GST portal, it is pushing to the GSTR 4A2. As I said earlier, GSTR 3B is not that intelligent enough to identify import of service and compute the liability. As of now, this is the this figure we need to put it manually. Coming to the 4A3, ITC on inward supplies under RCM. This is also auto-populated figure, provided supplier has to mark his invoice which under RCM. Coming to the 4A4, ITC from the input service distributor. This will be also the auto-populated figure only. This is auto-populating. 4A5, ITC on inward supplies. This is also the auto-populated figure.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir.
One point, members, I want you to now pay attention is we have just taken one hypothetical example, and now we are looking at how we will be reporting in the various values in 4B and 4C. This is just an hypothetical example, some numbers. So what now we are more focused in 4A5 has a value of 2 lakhs, 1 lakh 50 and 1 lakh 50. Right? Total 5 lakhs input tax credit is there. Ideally, I should be taking a 5 lakhs input tax credit, and this has been auto-populated from my 2B. Now let's look at how would the reporting of values will happen. I have some again given some examples. If you can you just go to next slide? There are 5 different points I have made a note, and looking at these, let's look at how will the treatment happen. Point number 1 is the value which is there in 4A5. The value which is there in 4A5, it includes an input tax credit of 50,000 rupees IGST, which is not eligible under 17.5. Let's say that is some insurance charges paid to employees' health, whatever. So 50,000 is there in your 4A5. In the normal course, in the earlier scenario, we were never reporting this under 4A5. It will continue to be the same thing, right? The next slide. Now, you will not disturb the value which is there in the 4A5. What you would be doing is this value which you are now finding something which is that 50,000 rupees, which is not eligible, that you will be reporting under 4B1. You will be reporting under 4B1 because after reversing it, there is no requirement of availing it. There is no requirement of re-availing the credit. So you will be reporting this under 4B1. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is there are certain items of rule 42 and 43. There are items of rule 42 and 43. They have given 3 items. 1 75,500 IGST, 52,000 CGST, 52,000 SGST. Again, they said owing to your exempt supplies, common credits, whatever be the thing, you are not eligible for certain credits. That credits also has been given. So the question is, where do I report? I'll continue with my 4A5, the total credit that has come. Again, this credit is I am not eligible. And after availing it, I am reversing now and I will not re-avail. Since it is a permanent reversal, again you will report this under 4B1. Third scenario we have taken is they have not received the supply. They're saying it is eligible, but the goods have not come. Now it is auto-populated in my returns. So they said, do not change your credit in 4A5. This 10,000 you still need to reverse since you did not completely fulfill the conditions which is there in section 16. So reverse it temporary basis. Reverse it on temporary basis. So this 10,000 IGST will be forming part of 4B2. The next situation is Venu Rule 37, 180 days you have to pay to your supplier from the invoice date and you have not paid it. Let's say 500 rupees to be reversed since you have not paid to the supplier. Even this you will be reversing the credit. Now this you would have availed it long back that you are reversing now. Again, this reversal you will be reporting under 4B2 because this is a temporary reversal. The third point, the last point which they have said is, let's say 10,000 rupees is visible in your 2B. It is visible in your 2B, but it is marked as 16th of section 4, supplier has filed late. Please note, this will not be auto-populated in 4A of 3B. Even though it is there in 2B, it will not get auto-populated, and let's see where this will be visible. So we have given 5 scenarios. Let's look at each one of them one by one. Next slide. So the first one in 4B1, as I said, there are multiple reversals that are happening. For the first one which we have seen, 50,000 17th of section 5, I am parking it under IGST. And the second rule 42, 43, 75, 500, 52, 52, that will again get added. So 4B1 is a reversal. Then we had another next two scenarios, goods not received IGST 10,000 and payment not made to the supplier 500, 500, GST, SGST, both are coming in 4B2. Why 4B2? Because I am reversing it now, I will re-avail it on a later date. So what is the net credit that I am availing? Summation of my 4A minus 4B1 and 4B2. Just that the value which I am reversing in 4B2, I will re-avail at a later point. What comes is the reporting of 4D1 and D2. Next slide. In the first month, we will not have anything in 4D1. In the same circular para 4.3, they have said the reversal under 17.5 earlier we were showing here, but you are not required to show it here because it is already shown under 4B1. It's already shown under 4B1, the 17th of section 5. So you don't need to reverse it here again under 4D1. So 4D1 is only a temporary credit reversal, which you have re-availing at a later point in time. It is only tracking of your temporary reversal, which you are availing at a later point in time. Second, they have also mentioned there are credits where the supplier has filed it late. Those credits which were not auto-populated in 4A5 will be auto-populated in 4D2. So these are the main changes in the input tax credit related which has come up. Continue.
Yes. Okay. What earlier in GSTR 3B, if there is any ineligible is there, they used to reverse in the 4A5 itself. Here itself, they used to reduce 50,000. So from now onwards, we should not disturb the auto-populated figure in the 4A5. That we need to report in the 4B1, ineligible credit. Coming to the 4D2, as already sir discussed about all these points. So issuation reporting GSTR 3B. This will be taken up by my colleague Ashika and Venu.
Yeah. So now let's look at the issues that are going to come up. In fact, there was a question already, is the transition credit. When I'm saying transition credit, I'm not talking about tran credit. Let's say in the month of April, May, June, there was a credit appearing in 2B, but I did not avail, which I want to avail now. Where to avail? I would say the first month you will never have any value in 4D1. You should report it in 4D1 as your control purpose. You should revert it in 4D1 as your control purpose and add it to the existing auto-populated 4A5. That is what you have to do. By the way, whatever you are seeing in the screen, there is no circular, there is no clarification, nothing. Out of our experience in handling the assessment and audit and suggesting the best way to reconcile. Could be a scenario where you have erroneously availed extra credit in the earlier period. What happened is you availed more credit, you availed more than what you are eligible for. What do I do now? Given that you have availed more and you have to reverse, it might not be appearing in 4A5 of the current month. You can reverse it under 4B1. The first point in the 4B, it's a permanent reversal. You have excess avail which you are putting it now. Let's say if there are any errors that are appearing in the current period, either it could be a bookkeeping error or a wrong way figures which are being reported in 3B. In such a scenario, when there are wrong figures that are getting reported in 3B, what is the remedy that you have? Right now, again, there is no remedy. We have to fall back to the circular 26/26 by 2017 issued in December 21, which permits you to correct an error into the subsequent period. What could be the error? I have value which was appearing in 4A5 as let's say 100, but again data entry I was supposed to not touch 4A5, but I made it as 0 and reported it. So okay, go to next month and update it. Right? Let's look at reversal. There was a question that came up for credit note. Where do I report? Contextually, credit note is a contextually it is permanent. I have received the goods, I have accounted in 4A5. The next month supplier issued a credit note. The credit note will be reported in 4B1 earlier, but now it will be reported in 4B1. But imagine a situation where credit note is issued for an invoice you have not taken the credit. Like what do you mean by credit you have not taken? Let's say I have purchased for motor vehicle. Is it eligible? Of course, no. In the first month, what I would have interest and I did not credit quality, I have returned back the spare. The moment I have returned, I got that credit note now because I have not even availed the credit at the first point. Those scenarios, you should be manually, if there are any auto-populated numbers that are coming, you will have to adjust it. Not just the credit note, it could have been downward amendment of invoice. Let's say I have purchased goods worth 10,000 rupees and IGST there are 1,800. The accountant of my supplier made a mistake and made it as 1 lakh and entered as 18,000 in 2B. But I didn't want to make a mistake. Even though 18,000 has come, I have reversed the 16,200 in my 4B1. What do I do next? Next month he has made a downward amendment of an invoice. So even these amendments, if it auto-populated in your 4B1, you got to be little careful and ensure these values are come because you are reducing the value of your turnover, sorry, your ITC, so it will impact your working capital. So you got to be careful. The last situation that would come is, okay, there is a, I can see that the voice is breaking. Let me just switch off my video for the, yeah. So the last situation is credit in the book, but it is not in GSTR 2B. If there is a credit in book, but not in 2B, what do I do? Absolutely nothing. you are not entitled to take that input tax credit if it is not visible in 2B. Rule 36 sub rule 4 had that provision saying that okay, 20%, 10%, 5%, but now if you want to take a credit, it has to be there in your books of account and 2B. If it is not there in 2B, it is there only in your books of account, then no input tax credit. Yeah. So these are the changes that have come in GSTR 3B. Question is, from when is this applicable? It has been notified already. In my view, it would be applicable from this month return. So today midnight, the 2B gets auto-populated, and the basis this, you should be filing the returns in the new format. GSTN has given an advisory till the GSTN portal update. You please follow the old method. The question that may come up is, if GSTN is giving an advisory, should I follow the notification or should I follow the advisory? Ideally, the advisory has no legal sanity. You have to follow the notification which is issued on 14/2022 on 5th July. The maximum leeway, if one wants to take it, is this notification has been issued on 5th July. That means it is applicable for the returns for the month of July, which is filed in August. So can I treat it that, okay, since that it came in midway, I will ignore the first month and take it later point? In my view, in my personal view, you still have to file it the way in which the new notification is. So whatever we have heard as of now, that should be the basis in which you should be filing. And we are hopeful that GSTN will update, or the CBSE will give another circular saying that, okay, use whatever be the method. So any questions to anyone on whatever the 3B filing? You can unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can put your question in the chat.
Hello, Venu sir. Venu sir. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very, very much audible.
Actually, I just wanted to know that if the credit does not appear in 2B for the March, even up to November.
Okay,
Then,
just one correction. The September and November, still September, because though the act has been changed, it has not been notified. So the due date of availment of credit will still be the due date, whatever which is specified in the earlier act, that is up until September. That will still go, because the original amended act is still not notified. Okay. If you look at section 1, subsection 2, there can be a different dates appointed for the different provisions. So, Sureshji, as of now, November ko chhod dete, we will still treat it as September.
Okay, that's good. If in the month of September, I am supposed to take all my credits, whatsoever due to me. But if those credits have not come in 2B, then what is the recourse? Should we take it and then reverse it so that it can be taken in the later portion? Because there is only one condition which is not fulfilled, that 2B. What do you say?
Okay, sir, all this while effective till Jan of this year, 16(2)AA was not imposed. So I would have been saying that yes, you can go ahead and check because that's your legal claim. But since you have fulfilled all the conditions of 16(2), but since 16(2)AA has been inserted, I'm afraid if we can take that position from this year, not from the, I'm not saying for the past period, but from the current period, we do not have a choice, any chance or a choice. If a credit is not visible in 2B, consider it is lost credit.
16(2)AA is effective from, you said, January.
This year.
January this year, na? Okay. January this year. So I am talking of if you mean to say that credit before January we should have taken, okay, before January. If it is a February and March, those credits have not come in my 2B. So I am unable to take that in any case, huh? Because my point was that we should take that and we should reverse in temporary reversal, and then after that we can take. Can't we take that?
I don't agree with your view. Again, practically, we may suggest that even if I reverse it on a temporary basis, I am reporting a value in 4A5 which is not there in 4D1. So we will have to face a department inquiries as to why you have taken a credit more than what you are eligible for.
That's fine, sir. And sir, in the month of July, in this month, when we going to file this 3B, there may be certain credits which we will be taking because we have not shown it, because that goods not received. Goods not received in June. We have not taken that in June. Okay. No, we will be taking that credit in July. So then
Right.
it will be a more credit than 2B in
Correct.
this. Okay. And then there will be there will be no basis for that as far as 2B is concerned for this return. So I think that we have to take a chance now.
Yeah, so that I would suggest you report that value in 4D1, Delhi 1. So this is a reclaimed credit which was there under reversal earlier period. Since I have not availed, this is the first time entering into the books of accounts. So it will be in 4A5 and 4D1 for your reconciliation purpose.
Only because 4D1 will not be a correct thing because it was never reversed. It was never taken.
See, if we have to talk that way, looking at the wording, okay, let's say if I have received a credit note, is reversal on account of credit note. It is not as per rule 38 or 42 or 43 or neither are 17.5. Okay. It is a credit note, which means I am not eligible for the credit. But since it is a permanent reversal, I'll still have to reverse in 4B1. So there are is it a well drafted act, and the form may not be the fullest extent, which will continue to give litigation. But contextually, if we know that 4B1 is a temporary, permanent reversal and 4B2 is a temporary reversal, going by the same logic, the past credit which I have not availed and which I am availing now, which I will be reporting in 4D1 and 4A5.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And sir, last query for my sir, that in case of credit note, auto population figure will be there, and that credit note figure will be automatically in 4D1 from this time onward. Credit note figure of 2B will be auto populated in 4D1.
B for Bangalore.
B, yes, 4B1. Okay, that will be there now. Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, Ashika, can you now take on the next aspect on the clarifications, the circular which has issued? We have three main circulars, circular 177, 178, and 179. So we are going to deal the presentation by the circular. You are on mute, Ashika.
So with our 3B discussion, I hope so now you know what are the things you have to take care while filing your July month GSTR 3B. You need to be very much careful with it. Even 21-22 ITC, last day for availing is September, as we discussed. So that also you need to take care while filing your 3B for the August and September month. Now moving forward to clarification. Now they have issued in the August month till now 3 circulars clarifying various aspects, out of which we will be discussing in detail 2 aspects which will be more or less common to all the companies, all the industry, or all the types of person who are engaged in supply of goods or services. Now, starting with one of the most important clarification which they have brought out is on the tolerating an act, refraining from an act, and to do an act. Now, in the service tax regime also, this concept was there, where in the service tax regime, which was based on negative list based, means where they have given us in section 66D, negative list, where they say if you fall in this, it will not be considered as service, otherwise you are liable to pay tax. In that, there was a declared service which says that agreeing to an obligation to refrain from an act, to tolerate an act or situation, or to do an act. The same thing they have also carry forward under GST regime. Even in Schedule 2, which specify on the basis of how you have to classify as good or service, they have specifically covered in para 5E that it will be regarded as supply of service. Now the question arises, what does it can cover and to what extent it can cover? Now this is what has been clarified by way of circular. Now in earlier regime, even in GST, wherever they do not find anything, they try to put it everything in this para 5e in order to demand you tax. It may be in any nature, in any penalty, any fine which you are imposing on your customer for any non-compliance of the agreement, everything, even a 1 rupee, if you receive, they try to tax you in this clause. So it is very important to understand how they have given this clarification and how is going to impact your business in the future. Because what have been done, if you have paid the GST, then obviously nothing. What if you have not paid the GST? What would be the consequences? As per this circular, we are going to discuss. As we know,
Yeah.
the supply.
Yeah. Now, friends, there are a lot of examples that we have taken. But even before we go to the examples, I want you to keep one context behind when we are discussing this. Every receipt, just because you received money, you will not paying GST. Now, credit in my P&L, though ideally the turnover and further, or you can call it as an income, but it will not attract GST. For it to attract GST, there has to be a supply. Section 7 has to be fulfilled. So only supply will attract GST. Now, the most mischievous clause from the supply is where in 5E of Schedule 2, where they said, agreeing to an obligation. You have agreed to an obligation is a supply of service. Now, that is the most mischievous thing which is interpreted by the department. And though there are many examples, I want to give one crude example. Let's say I have purchased a laptop and its expected behavior was it has to, when I switch on the button, the screen should come. It is not coming, it's not switching on and nothing is happening. All that I'll do is I will return back this laptop and get a new one. But the supplier has arranged some repair service to me, and let's say I've paid some 20,000 and collected the 20,000 repair charges. Does it mean that I'm making a supply of screen to the vendor? Just because there is a receipt to me, and I will now end up paying GST on that services. So imagine there could be many receipts that you will have which are not originating by you providing some supply. So the provision of supply is very important. However, this word used, providing a supply, would also equivalent to agreeing not to provide a supply is also a supply of service. So there is a very thin line of difference. Even when you are not doing anything, there would be some supply of service that will be coming up. So understanding where is the supply and where is not supply, this circular is very handy And I would recommend everyone to go through Circular 178 in detail, but let's go over a brief understanding of it. Yes, Archana.
So as you will see, the supply definition, it's very vast.
Ashika?
It's supply definition is very vast. It covers each and everything under its ambit to make it taxable under GST. But it also has few points which need to be taken care to determine its taxability under GST. One of the main thing which is important for our discussion for agreeing to tolerate an act, refrain from an act, or do an act is that there should be made and agreed to be made for a consideration. Even when the para 5e start, it start with agreeing to the obligation. Means when we say agreed word, it means that both the party mutually agreed either to do that act, mutually agreed that they will not do that act, or mutually agreed that they will tolerate an act. So there should be an agreement between the parties. If that agreement is not there, now the question arises whether the tax can be demanded under GST, whether it can be considered as supply. Because one of the important thing is there should be an agreement. It's not that agreement should be written, it can also be implied. But we need to have to think about the intention of the agreement. So with this moving forward, we'll be breaking this clarification is now what are the factors which you need to consider for determining the taxability under this head? Is first, as discussed, there should be an agreement. It may be expressed or implied. Another thing, there should be a presence of consideration. Means there should be a flow of money to one person to another. But mere flow of money does not mean that it's a consideration. Like if we say if we have made payment to beggar, so that does not mean that he has provided us a service and we are paying for it. So mere flow of money does not become a consideration. Object of the agreement, the purpose, the object which you have entered in the agreement need to be seen. Entered into agreement, when we say, it means that you have agreed that you will not compete me, non-compete agreement, which is very commonly used. So where you have entered into an agreement that I will not compete. So this is an agreement, this is the object of an agreement. But there are cases where like you enter into an agreement, but we also give one preventive clause that if you don't do all of this, then I will impose a penalty on this. So it's an event which is occurring in that agreement, but the agreement is not entered with that purpose. Now, I have entered into an agreement to provide you a machinery, but there is also a clause written that if I did not provide you a machinery within 3 months, this agreement will be considered as cancelled and I will be liable to pay you a damages for that 3 months delay which you have suffered, suppose 3 lakhs. Now, the question arises, what was the object of the agreement? Over here, agreement was entered with the intention of supply of machinery, first thing. Is there is a flow of money? Yes, as the agreement was not fulfilled, I am liable to pay you 3 lakh. But there is a flow of money, but whether it can be considered as a consideration is another question. Third, my object was not to breach my contract. My object was not to not comply with the contract. My object was to supply, but due to some circumstance, I could not supply it to you. So if that is the situation, then in this circular, it has been clarified that as the intention was not to bear the breach of the contract, the amount, the penalty which you are going to pay will also not be regarded as a consideration and GST will not be leviable. So as we break down this factor into further, that you have to see what purpose you have entered into an agreement. Means agreement should be specifically for that purpose, either to agree to an obligation, to tolerate an act, to refrain from an act, or to do an act. There should be a contractual relationship where one promisor is saying, I will do this, and promisee accept in return for consideration. Now, this agreement can be independent agreement also, and it can be a part of the contract. There should be a nexus between supply and consideration. What it should not be, it should not be a mere event in a contract. Like we always mention in a contract, for a precautionary purpose, some clause due to non-compliance. So it should not be in that fashion. And it should not be to compensate for loss, injury, or damages suffered. If it is in a mere event or to compensate for loss and damages, then it will not be considered as a supply and GST will not be livable. Similarly, coming to the point of consideration also, it should be an activity for consideration. When a penalty is paid, there is no activity for consideration. Though I have beard, but the purpose was not to tolerate an act. That is need to be understood to determine the taxability under this clause. So these are the points we need to keep in our mind to determine whether the para 5E of Schedule 2 is invocable or not, or whether GST is livable or not. Now, the various example they have taken in that circular, let's moving on with each and every example, which will give you more better clarity how you have to move forward in your business. Because some of the example which they have taken is very common day-to-day basis, most of the companies will be having. Liquidated damage, as discussed, liquidated damage like penalty clause, where due to non-compliance of the contract, you bear this damages. Check dishonor, it's also one of the most common, where the check is dishonor, whatever the charges bank charge you, you charge to your vendors. Notice pay recovery, where if an employee is having that after he has to serve 3 months notice pay recovery, but he have been given an option to leave early on payment of 1 month salary. Late payment charges, interest and late fee which we impose due to receipt of delay payment. Cancellation charges, like flight book, ticket got cancelled, so they return a part of it. Cancellation charges can happen in numbers of situations, not only of ticket, but many clauses are there. Compensation, compensation which is paid basically to compensate for loss or damages. Penalty paid by mining company. This is basically due to Supreme Court order where they have allotted in case of some licensees whose mining license were cancelled, a penalty was imposed for that. Fixed charges collected by power generation. Now, power electricity company from us, they collect two type of charges, fixed charges and variable charges. So doubt was whether on variable charges, GST will be livable or not. All these examples, they have considered it under tolerating an act, refraining from an act, or to do an act. And by considering in that, they have discussed what will be considered as taxable and what will be not. As discussed, my object is the thing which you need to see. Now, liquidated damages is never the object. We never enter into an agreement with the object to bear the breach of the contract. So as the intention was never to bear the breach of the contract, they have clarified that GST is not livable on the same. In a similar fashion, check dishonor. Obviously, we never want our vendor to make our payment delay. The purpose of imposing that interest, this to ensure that check is not dishonored. So this is also like a not tolerating an act. They have distinguished between two ways: tolerating an act and not tolerating an act. Liquidated damage, check dishonor, notice pay recovery, late payment charges, compensation, penalty paid, fixed charges. This all are like not tolerating an act. It is not for the purpose of tolerating an act. There is never an intention that our vendor dishonor it or our customer dishonor it. So with the intention which we enter into an agreement is very important, and the consequence leading to this event is also important. So as discussed, as all these components, this component, 7 components are not with the intention of tolerating an act. They have said it will be outside the levy of GST. With respect to cancellation charges, they have said as there is specifically we mention about it that for this non-compliances, we will be charging you on that cancellation charges. You are liable to pay GST on it. So from now onwards, now this late payment charges, notice pay recovery, many of the SSE have paid GST in the past period, assuming it to be liable under GST. Now onwards, with this clarification, they are not required to pay GST on it, as they have said that it is like not tolerating an act, and with the intention is not to dishonor the agreement. The purpose is to honor the agreement. So basically, reason for non-taxability is intention is never for breach, for holding more stock than permitted under mining contract. This is for penalty for mining, for leaving the employee before the agreed minimum period, or for doing something leading to dishonor of the check. So basically, they have bifurcated into consideration for tolerating an act and consideration for not tolerating an act. As the which boxes which are not filled, these are for not tolerating an act. They have said it is outside GST, but cancellation charges is like in tolerating an act. GST will be leviable on the same. Even liquidated damages, they have further divided. Like for non-taxability, they have defined as damage to property, negligence, privacy, unauthorized use of trade name, copyright, delay construction of house, forfeiture of earnest money. And when we come in from the taxability point, they have said for cancellation of ticket, forfeiture of the security deposit, early termination of fee and penalty. But all this taxability will also depend upon the taxability of principal supply. As we know, composite supply, which is a naturally bundled service. Sometimes when the things are naturally bundled, then taxability depend on the principal supply. If your principal supply is exempted, then your incidental supply is also exempted. In a similar way, principal supply when taxable, your incidental supply will also be taxable. When we supply goods with transportation, then it is considered as composite, and GST rate which is applied is of goods, not of transportation. In a similar way, if I am suppose providing renting of residential dwelling, and that renting of residential dwelling is exempted. Now in that I have also put in clause where I have mentioned if my tenant pay me less, then he will also be liable to pay me interest at the rate of 10%. Suppose interest rent was 10,000, interest was 1,000. Now in this case, as my renting of residential unit is exempted, then the interest will also be exempted. So for taxability, you have also to see what's your principal supply is, whether it is taxable or not. So this is what the clarification they have come up with, agreeing to an obligation to refrain from act. As Sir pointed out rightly that not every supply, any receipt of money is not taxable. So we have to see what will be taxable under GST in accordance with the supply definition. First thing is that it should come under the definition of supply. Then the other question of classification will come into picture, GST rate will come into picture. If the thing does not come under supply, the question of paying GST will also not arise.
Yeah. So I just want to add, Ashika, can you go to the previous slide where you have had all the previous? Yeah. So why was the cancellation charges highlighted? Now, the only point of difference, no, as I said, there is a thin line of difference in classifying this. Just because I received money, it is not a GST and supply. I have to provide something, I have to do something. In case of the cancellation charges, let's say a hotel accommodation or a bus booking, train booking, or I have booked the hotel and it's a no-show. Now, in my agreement, it would have been written that if you cancel within this time to this time, so much charges, etc. What would be the nature of supply and what would be the levy? So the CBSE of the view that the nature of supply would continue to be the original supply, I have facilitated and provided. Let's say you have agreed to come to a hotel. I would have to clean that room. I would have to make it ready for your occupancy. I will be blocking that room, not selling it to anyone. Now, when you are not showing up, there is a no show. I have cut some amount, saying that out of 10,000 which you have paid me, 2,000 I'm holding and balance money I'm paying you. So it would continue to be treated as a taxable supply of the principal supply, since the services relating to it is partly provided. The nature of supply doesn't get changed, and the money which I'm withholding is towards some activity of the service that I have already provided or agreed to provide, which was there in section 7. If I keep that aside, say notice pay or check dishonor, I am not going to do a business with you thinking that you will issue a check and the check will get dishonored and I'm charging you because the bank has charged me, I'm recovering my money. I'm not providing you any service by levying a penalty of check dishonor. In my view, a well-drafted circular, very welcome circular, because in the name of agreeing to tolerate an act, literally most of the cases there are harassments from the department saying that you have to pay GST on it. This circular will be very useful. Please refer circular 178, this matter. Yes, Archika, you can continue. And any questions, please put your questions in the chat.
Now moving on to another interesting topic on which they have brought the clarification is sale of developed plots. Now, sale of developed plots, lot of litigation were happening in the past. As being a consultant and SSC, even they were of the view that it is like sale of land, sale of immovable property, and GST should not be levied. However, the department was having a different view, contrary view, saying that after developing the land you are selling, it's like providing a service. Even there are various advanced rulings which are sometime against and sometime in favor of the SSC, creating lot of confusion in the market, ambiguity, whether what should be done. Now they have clarified that sale of developed plot is not liable to GST. It's like sale of land, therefore no GST, as sale of land is specifically covered under Schedule 3, which specifies that which is neither a supply of goods, neither a supply of service, which will be a very welcome circular for real estate industry. Now, sale of developed plot, as we say, is where the land owner invite the contractor. Either it may be in two ways. It may be either owner themselves invite another contractor to do the developing and sell it to the outside buyer. One case. Second case, it may also be where they may enter into a JDA agreement. Now the question arises in both the cases where there will be no GST. In any leg of transaction, will there be a GST or not? So though the circular says that sale of plot land is developed plot is outside the GST, but it is a sale to a buyer, to ultimate customer is talking about. Now we have divided, we have brought further insight into this sale of developed plot by covering in two ways. First, where the development is taken in own land, another where the landowner has entered into a JDA. Now, where development is taken in own land, we mean to say where the developer engage another contractor for the purpose of developing a land, for leveling of land, making it suitable for sale, and landowner themselves sell it to the buyer. Now, in this case, as the landowner himself is selling it to buyer, then landowner to buyer is a sale of land and no GST will be applicable. But when we come from contractor point of view, contractor is providing service to landowner by way of development work, and contractor has to charge GST on it. Now he will charge GST, but as at the hand of landowner, there is no GST. Therefore, the question of availing ITC will also not arise. It will be a cost to landowner. But the sale made by landowner to buyer will not be liable to GST. Now, second part, where they have entered into an JDA, assuming a area sharing plotted development, where the developer and landowner has come together and where they have agreed either 60-40, 30-70, the ratio of their sharing, whatever may be. Now, over here, how the taxability under GST will work and on what value GST will be payable. Now, talking from the point of view of developer first, now developer is providing development work to landowner. There is no doubt. In the first case also it was taxable. In the second case also it's a taxable. So developer is required to charge GST and collect it from landowner. Now the question arises, as this is like a barter system where he is providing development service and getting up some part of plot development to himself. So in that case, what's the value we should consider? To our view, reasonable way will be to consider what the developer is going to charge to their buyers. So that value he should consider, and on that he should discharge his GST liability. But when he has received that ratio part of the plot and he is selling then to the ultimate buyer, then there will be no GST, as it will be regarded as sale of land. Now coming to landowner. Now what's the landowner? Like in JDA agreement, when there is a construction service, apartment construction, there is a commonly used word is development right. However, when we come to plot development, there is no transfer of development right. So there is no question to discuss on GST applicability on the same. So whatever the developed plot, which is of the part of the landowner, which it will be selling it to buyer, then there will be no GST on it. So this is in relation to area plot development. This is also a welcome circular, have created lot of huge in the market about the taxability. Now another is renting of immovable property. Though in renting of immovable property, there is no clarification in this month. It has been brought in 18 July 2017, but it going to impact many of the SSE. That's why we have taken in this session this topic. Now, renting of immovable property is two part. First is a commercial letting of immovable property, which we all know is taxable, GST at the rate of 18% leviable, and it is under forward charge mechanism. Forward charge mechanism means where the supplier will charge GST, collect it from the receiver, tenant, and pay it to the government. Another one is renting of residential dwelling. Now, renting of residential dwelling, it was exempted. I'm saying was exempted because now it has become taxable, not only taxable, but under reverse charge mechanism. So commercial property is a taxable under forward charge, no problem. Now coming to the residential unit, where they have said that it is now taxable and under RC, but it is not taxable in each and every circumstance, and it is not covered under reverse charge in each and every circumstance. It is taxable when it is provided to a registered person. So when any person, means supplier is registered or not, it is not the concern. We have to see whether the recipient is registered or not. If recipient is registered, that reverse charge mechanism is applicable and recipient is liable to pay tax on it. Now, the exemption which has been provided is only when residential dwelling is used for residence. So if residential dwelling is used for residence, then it is exempted. If residential dwelling is used for commercial, it is taxable and under reverse charge mechanism. So now everybody have to be very much precaution. If you are paying rent to your landlord, see whether it's a commercial property, no problem. landlord will be collecting GST and will be depositing it to the government. But if it is a residential dwelling and you are a registered person having a commercial property over there, means using for commercial purpose, get ready, you have to discharge GST on the same under reverse charge mechanism. So now all of you who are having the property, having their place of business at a place where your landlord is not charging GST, see that whether that property is registered with municipality as residential or commercial. If it is a residential property, commercial property used for commercial, then there is a no question of RCM. But if the property is registered as residential and being used as a commercial, then RCM is applicable. So now all of you need to be careful with the expenditure under the head renting of immovable property. We have summarized when the GST will be applicable on renting of residential dwelling and under RCM. This is the summary which we have made for your easy reference, that whenever you see renting of immovable property expenditure, look for this cross check and accordingly determine whether you are liable to pay under RCM, yes or no. Sir, you want to add something?
No, any of this presentation would be shared to all the registered participants on the email ID. Please go through and we'll also share you the copy of the recording.
Now, other clarification also they have brought up, like ice cream parlor by ice cream parlor. Obviously, there were dispute was going on whether it will be regarded as a restaurant service or it will be regarded as sale of ice cream. Now they earlier circular also they have clarified they will not come under restaurant service. Therefore, they have specified GST at the rate of 18% is leviable. But the circular which has come, it was come on 5th October 2021. So people were having doubt now what they should use, because ice cream basically we said to the ultimate consumer, and from consumer now we can't recover that differential tax rate. So now the government, this also a welcome move from the government side. They said that for the period July 17 to 5th October, even if you have collected 5% and paid 5%, I will assume that you have made your full discharge of GST. There is no need to pay differential GST rate of 13%. Because with this, obviously a question will arise that 5% is without ITC. So every input tax credit they were booking as expense. Now how they will do all the 3-4 year reconciliation, do the ITC claiming, because ITC claiming, as we know, there is a time limit. So at one time they are imposing a condition on ITC time availment, and with 5% increasing to 18% will obviously a hardship for this industry. So therefore they clarify there is no need to make the payment. We will assume you have made full payment. Further this, they have also said that obviously like some person are paying 5, some may be paying 18. Now 18 will feel why I have paid 18, I will go for refund of 13%. They said no refund will be allowed. So what is paid, what is done is done. There cannot be undoing of this act. Service by educational institution. Now, services which are provided by educational institution is mostly exempted. Doubt were raised, what about the charges which is collected as an entrance for admission, eligibility certificate or migration certificate? They clarify that will also form part of service provided by educational institution and therefore exempted. Selling of space in advertisement in souvenir, like souvenir books are there. So the question was that will it be equivalent to print media where the lower GST rate of 5% has been specified. So it has been clarified. It will be like equivalent to print media, and accordingly GST at the rate of 5% will be livable. Location charges, preferential location charges or additional toll. This 3 is basically linked to your composite service. Like when we do go for apartment booking, we look for the location. We want 5th floor, 4th floor, we want seaside. Similar way in a long-term lease also, whenever land is been allotted, we may want it near the riverside. So we pay additional cost for that amount. Now the question was whether it will be regarded as a separate supply or it will form part of the same supply and how the GST will be delimited. This location charges and PLC, they have specifically given for long-term lease, which is given for industrial units. Now, this long-term lease more than 30 years was exempted, is exempted. So they have said as this additional charges in the name of location and preferential location is an integral part. Obviously, it's an incidental service, ancillary service to principal supply, resulting into a composite supply. As principal supply is exempted, accordingly, this incidental and ancillary service will be exempted. In a similar way, like construction of apartment also, we pay PLC charges. So in that also, if we see in that fashion, you will be eligible for 1/3 abatement because it will form part of your cost of construction. And on this charges also, 1/3 abatement will be applicable, even reduced GST rate of 5%. 5% with abatement will be eligible. Similar fashion is for additional toll. It is also in the nature of toll. Therefore, as toll charges exempted, additional toll will also be exempted from GST. Air and non-conditioned passenger transport service. Now, one is passenger transport service, one is renting of motor vehicle. When we say passenger transport service, it's like bus taking from one place to another. So in that situation, or ferry taking from one place to another, it's like a passenger transport service where there is a predetermined route. Passenger is not controlling that vehicle. It is just that that vehicle will move from one place to there and the passenger wants to go there. So it's regarded as passenger transport service, and passenger transport service is exempted. There is no GST on it. But when we come from renting of motor vehicle, GST is leviable on it. Now what they have done is they have tried to clarify that this two different terms, you have to understand properly who has the control over the vehicle, who has all control over the journey. In passenger transport service, passenger do not have any control. So it is exempted, no GST. But when it's come to renting a motor vehicle, over there passenger, the person who has got that motor vehicle has control over it. He knows he can go from A location to B to C, wherever he wants. So that is taxable, and on that GST is livable. Plus GST is livable under reverse charge mechanism. So it does not mention whether it is AC or non-AC. If renting of motor vehicle is there, then GST is livable on it, and you being an SSE, registered SSE, you have to pay under reverse charge mechanism. So that was the distinction they have brought out. Electrical vehicle. Electrical vehicle basic clarification was what should be regarded as electric vehicle is whether when the electric battery is there, then only it will be regarded as electric, or the one which run on electric will also be considered as electric vehicle. They said the purpose is to see that it should run on electric energy. If it is running irrespective of fact, whether battery is fitted or not, internal, outside, wherever, it will be regarded as electric vehicle, and reduced GST rate of 5% will be applicable. Then for Napa stone, they also clarify that it will be also applicable GST rate of 5%. Treated sewerage water, as sale of water is exempted. Now the question was that even treated sewerage water will also be exempted or not. They said exempted. Nicotine products gum, they have said its GST is applicable at the rate of 18. Byproduct of milling pulses, dal such as chilka kind of is basically used for cattle feed. So that is also applicable GST at the rate of 5%. GST on mango. Obviously, fresh mango is an agriculture produce. There is no GST. But if it slices and dries, then there is a concessional GST rate of 5% applicable. Other than this, GST at the rate of 12% is livable on the mango. Fly ash bricks and block. Earlier, they have come up with the 90% condition where they said if you qualify, your fly ash content should be more or equal to 90%, then only they have provided that you will be applicable for 12%. Now this condition has been removed. Accordingly, now 90%, even if it is not 90%, if it is a fly ash brick and block having a content of fly ash, will be taxable at the rate of 12%. So these are the clarifications which they have come up with. Now over to you, Venu sir.
Any questions, anyone? Please put your questions in the chat. Next slide. So let's now look at on the e-invoicing changes that have come and that will be impacted. E-invoicing has been brought into effect October 20. So in 2 months will be 2 years of e-invoice era. And they have made it gradually increasing. Currently, notification 17/22, Central Tax 1st August, they said turnover exceeding 10 crore in any of the financial year starting from 17-18. Let's say the first year you did 20 crores, after that you are doing only 5 crores, doesn't matter. In any of the preceding financial year, if you have exceeded 10 crores, starting from 1st October 22, you will be doing e-invoice. And the proposal is effective April 23, the next financial year, 5 crores and above will be under e-invoice regime. So these are the various dates where the e-invoice has come online. And now we are having multiple portals which will be doing the e-invoice. Yeah. Now let's look at the activities which are covered under the e-invoice. What you are seeing in the green color is applicable in e-invoice. Though we use the word e-invoice, I would refer it as e-documents because you have to do invoice, credit note, debit note. However, if your supply is an exempt supply, you are not going to issue an invoice, you are issuing a bill of supply. So the orange or red type color is not applicable for e-invoice. And to whom it is supplied also matters. If an invoice is issued, to a registered person, then the e-invoice is applicable. If the invoice is issued to a registered person, then the e-invoice is applicable. But if the invoice is issued to an unregistered person, if you are issuing an invoice to an unregistered person, then e-invoice is not applicable. Likewise, if you are making an exempt supply to a registered person, then again e-invoice is not applicable. So for e-invoice to be applicable, both the combinations should be made fit. In a simple terms, in GSTR 1, wherever you are doing a line-wise reporting, you will be doing e-invoice except B2C loss. That's a thumb rule of understanding. Now, where do I do this e-invoice? Is a new portal, NIC portal. They are called IRP, einvoice1.gst.gov.in. There are multiple IRPs coming in. So 5 more new IRPs have been given approval. They would be onboarded very soon. Certain persons are not liable to do any invoice. They have been exempted. One, SEZ unit. Along with the SEZ unit, there are persons already covered under CGST rules, Rule 54, Sub Rule 2C44A. It could be insurance or a banking company, or goods transport or a passenger transport, or admission to cinematographic film. These businesses, I'll not say these GSTN. If I have multiple business in the same GSTN, only these businesses are exempt from doing e-invoice. Broadly, if I have to tell you how the e-invoice would work, a taxpayer will create a JSON using an offline utility or through ERP. He uploads to the government portal, which is IRP, either manually, automatic, API, everything. The IRP will first check whether it is a new invoice or not, it is duplicate or not. It will check. And if everything is correct after deduplicacy check, then you want an e-waybill, it will connect to the e-waybill portal, generate an e-waybill. It will connect to the GST portal and update your GSTR1. What it will give back to the taxpayer, a signed invoice, which we call it as invoice with the signed invoice with the QR code. The new rule 46 inserted, it's mandatory to print the QR code while issuing the e-invoice. Broadly, these are the provisions that have come up and one should be aware of in conducting the business. So before we move on to the tech activity, tech subject, any questions to any of the participants? Feel free to ask the question. I guess most of the questions that were in the chat have been taken. If you would like to unmute yourself, you can, and want to ask a question, you can do so.
Sir, Venu sir, there is one query.
Yes, sir.
If I have to issue an invoice on 31st of March, it was regarding some supply of services. So I omitted to issue that invoice. No, I want to issue that invoice on 31st March of date only. Can it be e-invoiced in the e-portal?
Yeah. So currently, since there is a lag in adoption of the e-invoice, multiple reasons: lack of knowledge, not available on the portal, system glitches, integration, could be anything. What GSTN and NIC facilitated is even the backdated invoice. Today we are standing in August. So the question from Suresh sir is, 31st March invoice, I forgot to do an e-invoice. I will do now just to be compliant on law. But I will make sure that the invoice date will continue to be 31st March. I will not change the invoice date. In such a scenario, e-invoice can be done today with 31st date, system permit. All that system will do, system will not push this to GSTR1 since the tax periods have been completed. It will issue the acknowledgement stating that the invoice date is 31st March, but generated today, say 13th August, 14th August, whatever be the date.
But sir, will this be in GST1 of August? If I am doing it no,
no, it will not be in GSTR1 of August. So you have to do it manually.
Then we have to do manually.
Correct.
And sir, one more thing: if credit note, debit notes have not been done through e-invoice portal earlier, and they have been entered into manually in the GST1. No, should we do all those debit credit notes in the portal again? No.
To be on the safer side, in compliance with the law, I would request wherever the e-invoice document said e-invoice to be done, I would request e-invoice to be done for that, so that you are in compliance with the law. So tomorrow, when an officer is coming and asking, have you done the e-invoice? At least you can say, yes, sir, I have done the e-invoice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Question from Ramesh: is e-invoice to be done on a daily basis, or can we do on a month end? E-invoice has to be done on or before movement of the goods. Rule 48 sub rule 5 said if you are issuing any document in the name of invoice without obtaining the IRN, it will not be treated as a valid invoice. So you are not complying with the rules and the act provisions, you will be subjected to the penalty under 122. So Mr. Ramesh, the plain answer, you cannot do at the month end, you have to do on or before issuing of the document to the customer.
Venu sir.
Yes.
Sir, actually ಇವಾಗ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ನಾವು ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ಆಲ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ ಸಬ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ?
Yeah, so another very interesting question is, I have done the e-invoice, I need a very small correction, maybe description was wrong, or transportation charges 500 rupees to be added, or address to be corrected. Can I do the correction? The answer is no. Once you have generated an e-invoice, not even a dot or a full stop can be corrected, can be amended. You cannot amend an invoice once it is generated. The option that has been given is you can cancel the invoice which you have generated. By when? Within 24 hours. What happens after 24 hours? No, you cannot cancel it. But the provision is you can cancel in your books of accounts, manually remove it from your GSTR1 so that you are, because from the e-invoice portal, it is auto-populated to your GSTR1, so you are in compliance of the law. There is another question that comes up is, okay, I will cancel the invoice, correct everything, and re-upload with the same invoice number. Again, that is not permitted. If you have cancelled it, that invoice number is also blocked. You cannot reuse that invoice number. Hope this answers your question.
Yes.
Okay. Then if a registered dealer is present in multiple states, how should the turnover be calculated? Should it be PAN based or GSTN based, the 10 crores limit? The 10 crores limit has to be GST turnover. In case if there is a goods which is moved from, let's say my turnover is only 5 crores. But for the purpose of GST, it is 10 crores. How? I manufactured in the state of Karnataka, I supplied to say in Maharashtra, and from Maharashtra it is sold to the end customer. But for the purpose of GST, I have to add both the GST turnover. I have crossed 10 crores. I should be paying, I should be doing e-invoice for all the GST and IDs. That's more important.
Venuji, regarding some mistakes in e-invoice. So how to go about if there is some mistake in suppose description or in some quantity one, some quantity is wrong or something. But in my books of account, that is something else and this is something else. There is a minor mistake. So then we have to go with it only. Then there is no.
Yeah. I would classify the mistakes into two categories. Something which is documentary, not affecting value, something which is affecting value. For example, I did not give a correct quantity. I did not give correct description. I did not give correct address in the e-invoice. Books of accounts was correct. Error is human. Agar koi aadmi yahan jaake instead of inputting entry in other portals, the chance of it having errors can happen. In such a scenario, if you have your invoice affixing the e-invoice and giving it to the customer, since GSTR1 only looks at invoice number and the value, both are matching, I would say that there doesn't require any amendment. But however, if there is an impact in the change in value, then please cancel the original invoice and reissue the invoice. Cancellation within 24 hours. If you forget to cancel within 24 hours, realize this mistake, let's say after 5 days, no worries, cancel it in books of accounts, generate a fresh e-invoice, so issue to the supplier. In your GSTR1, the original invoice and the revised invoice would have automatically populated. Please remove the first invoice manually. You have to delete that and go ahead and do the filing of the GSTR1.
In that case, that number of e-invoice should be something else because the same number will not be taking now.
This you will be reporting in your table 13 of GSTR1. Mere invoices from 1 to 100 are there. 99 will be appearing in GSTR1. Invoice number 1 is cancelled. So the table 13 can come to your rescue as to why the invoice numbers are not matching.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Floor City who is asking to whom the e-invoices are applicable. E-invoices are applicable to everyone whose turnover is more than 10 crores. It is only not applicable to the listed the businesses, which is there on the screen. All right. So let's move to the next part of the discussion, which is the technical aspect. And as we as a finance professionals, we need to be equipped with the technology and Excel. And every session, I try bringing a small add-on and again, macro-based to automate certain things and give it free to our friends so that I want you to be techno accountants, right? In today's, the next part of the discussion technical session with me, I have my colleague Babu, who will also be taking the session. where we are going to cover 3 aspects. Aspect number 1, we will be showing 5 advanced functions of Excel. Some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware, but using those will definitely solve and help a lot of things, right? For example, you are using a lot of data, like you have sales register, a lot of customers, a lot of GSTNs are there. You want to know who are your customers, the list of customers. There are 2 ways you do. You copy whole set of data to another place, go to data and remove duplicate, or you just apply a filter to whole data. Like, how do I get the unique values, right? Or there are certain key advanced functions. So we will look at those advanced functions. Then today is the time where you want to reduce your time on the follow-up, and especially in the month of September, you have some line items in your books of accounts which is not appearing in 2B. You want to send a reminder to the supplier saying that, hey, look, these line items are missing, or you have outstandings, you want to just send them that these outstanding to be paid. You don't want to, you pick up a phone and say, okay, which one are there, but you press a button which can go automatically. The second, automation will look at it. The third, fast speed is more important. Still, we know the people, if you want to do something, you go use the mouse and go at different places and do it, or you do multiple things which will not give you the fast productivity. Well, these are the 3 things we are going to see today, and we will start with using the advanced function. Babu, let me make you as the co-host. You can share your screen. Yes, now you can share your screen.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah. The first part, Excel, the 5 new advanced formulas I'm going to show you.
Babu, your screen is not shared.
In text session, the part 1, advanced new formulas. Maybe if you're Office 365 user, you will get these functions, otherwise you won't get. If you want to practice, you can go in cloud version and you can check it. There is these are all functions are available in cloud. If it is Office version or Google, any cloud version spreadsheet, you can use, you can get this all the functions. Okay, the top recently also Excel Office 365 released around 15 new functions, but these are all last 1 year. And what are all new functions Office 365 is releasing, or dynamic formulas. It is very powerful formulas compared to up to 2016 or 13 versions. If you see VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or some ifs, these are all, if you have 2 lakhs 3 lakhs rows of data, your output will come very slow. But if you use this dynamic formulas, it will give very quickly your output result. If you are preparing dashboards or if you are analyzing your data, anything, if you want to use, wherever you use these formulas, you will get quick response. There is only one difference between the old formulas and new formulas. Before also, if you are good in macros, you can create these functions, same logic, you will get that results. But the difference is, this is inbuilt functions. It will work with 360 degrees parameters with quick response. That is only one benefit from these are all functions. Today I am going to show you filter, unique, lambda, array to text, value to text. These are 5 functions I'm going to cover here. Maybe if you follow my earlier sessions, I covered these 2 formulas in earlier also, but this is a little different between that that session and this session. There is one more add-on also in Excel. Maybe you know, wherever you go, every application is having more add-ons, or you can customize your own add-ons. If you see in Tally, there is a customization. You can use customization. If you go and search in Google also, you will get many add-ons. The same thing for Excel also, you will get many add-ons. Today I'm going to show you one small add-on for Excel. This, I think, first time we are showing Excel inbuilt add-on with Office 365. First, maybe if you are new for these formulas, I'll show you from beginning how this function will work. Then I am going to show you the major where we can use these formulas to advance. Okay, first filter formula. Is my voice audible?
Yes, Babu, very clear.
Filter, if you search in your cell, any cell, you will get filter function. If you are Office 365, again I'm mentioning you, otherwise you will confuse, it's not coming that. In filter function, they have given 3 arguments. The first argument is array, second argument include, argument is if empty. The if empty is if it is in square bracket any function, that is an optional argument. Other 2 are mandatory arguments. Okay, array. Okay, before going to show this formula, we'll understand our data here. I'm having name and department and location is empty. Okay, name and department. Here in between, I have a empty rows. Now I need only non-blank values. That means the basic, maybe if you are good in Excel, how you will do, just you can copy or you can short, you will get values, but it is a command based values. If there is any in between, if you add any rows and if you are add or delete, it won't update. It is command based values. But if you use filter formula, or there are some another formulas also, if you use some combination of some another form, count and if formulas, you will get same results also. But this is very powerful dynamic formula. Okay, now I'm going to show you the same results using filter formula. Filter. The first argument is array. Array means our data range. Just I'm selecting name up to row number 2 to 32. This is my array, but I'm including again same array. Then in array, what I want, not equal to blank. That means, okay, here I want to ask one question. How many of you know less than greater than can use in some mathematical places? Just can you mention chat? Maybe I'll tell you in end of the session. That is also very important if you are using Excel, little advanced, less than greater than, question mark, star. These are very useful functions. If you know that dash, you can work very quicker. Okay, no need to wait. First, I'll show you this formula, then we'll discuss other parameters. I'm including not equal to blank values. Double quote means blank, not equal to blank. Then option field is enabled. Here I don't want anything, but just I'm adding blank. If it is empty, I'm using blank function. So I'm getting same values. When I use command and if I use filter, the difference is it is a dynamic well. Suppose here I'm adding again before pump guru, it will add guru. So it is a dynamic. Again I'm adding
Okay,
here. See, it is
A3.
A3. Okay, sir.
Okay, just type hello.
Okay. See, it is inserting automatically. This is the most benefit formula. If you use advanced formulas, array formulas,
Just
it is a
type
dynamic
hello,
formula.
HLLO.
Sorry, sir.
Automatically, so now why we suggest a dynamic array? We call this as dynamic arrays. The advantage of the dynamic array is the change in the data is automatically recognized. I have entered the formula only in G3. If you see on the screen, if I come to G2, you can see a formula. If I come to G3, it is grayed out. It says
Yes.
I'm picking the formula from the top. So it is grayed out. And that is how you have to interpret this. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, thank you, sir. This is the benefit of dynamic formulas, but here it is adding, it is removing empty cells and it is adding values. But now I want to get unique values. Okay, we'll go to unique and we'll see how unique formula will work.
Can you come to the previous? So even though I have filtered the data, you can see in line number 9 and
Yes. Required, you can able to see here applying the conditional formatting. There are many duplicate values.
10, you can see Anil is coming twice. Or Babu, can you just go to will apply the next function?
Sorry, sir. Your voice is breaking.
Please continue.
Yeah, okay, sir. See, here I want to get unique values. Again, if you go old method, maybe we can copy these values, we can paste here, and we can use remove duplicates for shortcut key RTM. Otherwise, data tab. Yeah, data tab. Remove duplicates. This is again command based. It will give you only values. But there is a function that is unique formula. You can use that unique formula. Just
Babu, read in the
example.
formula. Babu, the escape, just control Z. Yeah, now apply the formula next to.
Yeah. Unique. Here also, if you see, there are 3 arguments. One is mandatory argument, other 2 are optional. You can use or you can leave that. But one is mandatory argument array. Now I want to get unique values. See, okay, I told you right existing before I think when I started the session greater than less than. See, if you here in Office 365 onwards, you don't want to select entire data. If you give the starting range and if you give ending with hash, it will understand the complete range. Suppose in earlier version also, if you select that data range, if you press Ctrl A, it will understand, it will select entire data. Similar way, it will understand if you give hash, automatically it will fetch the complete range of data. That is the benefit. So now we are getting unique values. Okay. Suppose here, if you want to store this formula, every time you don't want to apply this formula, you are getting repeated values for your work. You can store this formula together. We'll see how to add these 2 formulas and how to store that formula into engine. First, filter formula, right? Again, I'm selecting same range and data. Not equal to blank. Yeah, another argument also blank. Use before this formula unique. Dynamically, you will get unique values. Suppose you want to store this formula. Suppose if you are using multiple formulas combination of some output results, you can store this formula into your engine. That I'll show you how to store. Okay, for that one we need to install. That's not a mandatory, but this advanced add-on. You can use that one. Otherwise, the old method you can go and create your name manager and save it. For installing that add-on, go to insert. See, up to here, any doubts?
Yeah, any questions to the participants, please put it in the chat. So
using filter formula, getting non-blank values, and also in non-blank values, we are getting unique values. Suppose if you are preparing any MS, dashboards, or any controls, you can use these formulas dynamically. If you apply in these formulas in 8 lakhs rows or 7 lakhs rows, until end of the row also, if you apply this array formulas, it will give you quick response only. Instead of this one, if you use count or if some combination of formulas, that won't work. I can say directly if you apply in 10 lakhs rows. If you want to get that result, it will show processing. It will take at least minimum 5 to 6 minutes to show this kind of results you want to see. Yeah, any doubts? Yeah, fine. Next, the add-on. How that add-on will help us to create custom formulas using inbuilt functions. Okay. Go to Insert tab. There you will get add-ons group. In that, click on Get Add-on command. Search here advanced just search advanced formula. You will get the first top one, advanced formula environment. You just select and add it. I already added my system. If you want to see again, I'll show you. Just go to Insert tab, click on add-on, then search.
You need to have a valid Microsoft license to these add-ins.
Just install this one. Here you can create, add, import. It's very beautiful for add-on. I'll show you how it will help. Just add it. Then automatically you will get to your home tab in last of the group. So this is advanced formula environment. It's already added in my system. If you are trying, I'll give you 1 minute. You can try and install in your system. Yeah. Okay, try. Before that one, I'll show you lambda function, how basically it will work. Lambda function also is a dynamic and advanced macro function. Lambda, let, these two are very powerful functions. See, in lambda, they have given 255 arguments. It will, each argument you can give parameter or calculation. Parameter means it's a variable. Calculation means based on variable, it will calculate and give you value. Just simple, I'll give you A, B, then A into B. Just I'm giving you once more very simple example here. See, the first argument is, each argument it will show parameter or calculation. Again, I'm telling you, parameter means it's a variable. You can store your value or you can declare your variable. Then if it is a calculation, you can use that variables and you can calculate the value. Here the first my variable is A, second variable is B. See, each comma it is separating that argument. The first it is showing first argument. You can see it is selecting A. If select second argument, it is selecting B. If select third argument, it is selecting A into B. Just I am giving you hard-coded variable values. The first argument equal to 5, second argument equal to 2. It is calculating and giving values 10. Clear? Lambda will work like this. If you want to learn more, you can search in Google or YouTube. There are many videos. It is very useful formula. Just here I'll show you the combination of filter, unique, and lambda, how it will help. So now you understood lambda function, right? Now we'll go and click on advanced formula environment.
Babu, you can also create it into name manager for those who do not have advanced environment. What we can do is just put it into a name manager and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll show that one. Yeah. If you install it one, it will show manager and editor. There are many options and features. You can import code from some another external blogs, websites. There are many blogs, Windows related blogs, and external many channels are there using their codes, and you can import and use their codes also here very easily. But first, I'll show you the basic. They have given this is inbuilt only. If you are trying, it will give you the example of this formula. Just here you can write your code, own code. See, I'm using same here lambda function. The first argument is declared as value. Second is value blank. Then my third argument is I'm using if condition. If formula using, maybe if and is blank. Here also I'm using value, and if value is blank. We'll see first that output result, how it will come, and also how it will help us to do our data analysis and data formatting sometimes. This if blank, maybe many times if you do pivots, there is also some commands you can repeat that lines above lines, but sometimes you will use if formula. If it is blank, you take above or take some another value or hard coded value. Here we can use if blank. Okay, if you write any code, there is an option you need to shrink it. Once you shrink, it will move to your engine. Then you can use that formula. If blank, it is there, right? Now we'll use, see, the same arguments only is coming, value and value blank. This is my value. If it is value, it will take value. Otherwise, if it is a blank, I want to take above value. See, it is taking this way. Otherwise, you want to give. Yeah, if you have any doubts, you ask me in between also. See, I given above value. Instead of above value, I'll give you NA. So wherever it is blank, it is giving NA. Instead of using every time if condition, you can create your custom formula and you can store into your Excel engine, the same formulas. Now we'll see filter and unique key combination, this formula. We did this formula. Now we need to store this formula into our engine. Okay, there they have given plus button. Use this plus button. We'll get just this is your formula name, filter unique value. This is here you can write your formula. First lambda, maybe you know how lambda will work. This having 255 arguments, each argument is having a variable declaration, or you can use that variable as a calculation. Yeah, range values. Then we'll use filter formula. Okay, why I'm using first argument as range value? If I store that range value, then I can use that range values wherever I want. Now I'm using filter formula. In filter formula, you know that arguments array, include array, then if empty. Here include array, I can use that range value. See, it is automatically displaying. This is the benefit. Maybe this way it will display in macro, some another or Python. If you are bit programmer, you can able to understand this auto display of that variables display. Okay, here I'm using that variable. Second one also I'm using same variable. Then I'm using not equal to blank. If you remember, I'm using same method only, not equal to blank. My optional argument also I'm using as not equal is blank. Okay. See here again we can use unique also. Okay, we'll use up to here. Then we'll see. See, I'm adding my unique formula. Filter unique value. Okay, well, if you want to use this formula, see, if you type this is the formal name, we'll type here. See, it's not coming. If you write your code and save, then after that you need to shrink this formula. Once you shrink, you will get that formula into Excel. We'll use just I'm using get unique value. Using same formula, we'll add this one, then we'll shrink. See, now it is coming, get unique value. Sometimes it's a refresh issue. Don't know it. Close this one. Set rows. We'll use that formula, get unique values. So I'm selecting complete range A2 to A32. See, directly I'm getting my unique values. It is filtering. It is also getting unique values. It's a customized formula. You can store this formula into your workbook. Up to here, any doubts? Yeah, okay. This is one new thing. You can write code this way. Otherwise, I'll show you there is one blog. I'll share you this link into chat also. You can use this link. Yes, see, this is the official blog of Microsoft. Here they also mentioned some customized codes. We can download the codes. See, these are all the codes. I'll share you this link also instead of searching. Yeah, there are multiple codes. Yeah, we'll use this one using advanced Excel formula add-on. Here they have given one option. You can download your code from that website using that link. See, just imported formula successfully. You will get these are all formulas into your Excel now. These are customized formulas. If you follow this blog, there are many codes like this. Based on your requirement, or if you're a learner, you can use these formulas and you can work on these formulas and code. Okay. See, it's imported. Okay, if you want to shrink, these are all formulas to your workbook. Just press shrink button. It will shrink to your workbook. Okay. If you shrink, it will save into your engine and it will display on your name manager also. We'll come to your name manager. We'll see. Close and open. Okay, it's already 5:30. Quickly, I'll show and finish this one. These advanced formulas. Yeah, see, you can try examples. So this is the example I already shown to you. This GitHub link. Importing successful. It's imported other formulas. If you are now, if you see in formula name manager, there is no formulas. If you shrink from here, it will come and show from here also. See, these are all new formulas. Already shown you if blank. There are many formulas you can use it. Maybe in advanced formulas, they already released in beta version. And also now Office 365 is also it is available, append column and append row. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. This is advanced one. You try it from your end. You will get good output. These Excel 5 formulas is done. Then we'll go with how to send bulk emails for outstandings.
All right. Babu, shall I do or?
Yeah, please.
Honestly, for some of you, it would appear that okay, this lambda function is crazy. You would said that okay, what nonsense is this? But till you really understand it, it will take time. On top of adding so much knowledge, let me just add. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it in a simple way. Let me just do it in a way where you can understand it really easy. Whatever Babu has explained, I'm just again saying it once again. So what I am just doing is I'm selecting this data and creating one data set. Okay, I'm just writing a data set. All right. So all that we did is firstly we applied a filter to the data set. And we said if give me all the values if the data set is empty, right? So this is what we did. We applied a filter to the data set and we wanted a unique. So we said we give me a unique values to the data set, right? How will a lambda function is like there are too many things you don't know. The way we will actually do is in a lambda, you are saying that, okay, there is a data. You don't know the data. I'm just naming the data as XYZ also. You can type anything. There is no requirement. You can type XYZ, ABC, whatever. To this data, you have applied a function called unique. You said unique, and you also wanted to filter your XYZ where your XYZ is not equal to empty, right? So this is the formula that we have written. This is the formula that we have written. And we don't know what is XYZ. We also have to define the XYZ, right? So the XYZ would be defined by giving what is my XYZ. I said this is a data set. That is my XYZ is the data.
Add one more brackets. Instead of star, close the brackets.
Yeah. Yeah. So now if you see the same value, both are the same value, but the purpose of knowing lambda functions is now you can create your own functions. It's like a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. So it's a long function. You can write, you say you want to divide the values divided by USD, all those things. However complicated formulas is, you can just create. So now you have created whole of this. This is a new formula that you have created. You can just copy this into the name manager. You can just go to the name manager and you can add this and create a new lambda. All that works. Yeah. We just started seeing what is lambda. In the next section, we will explore more. Right. So then the next thing coming on, there is a file which I will, let me share it to you. Yeah, here it is. Anyway, I'll explain you, but you will be able to all right. So you will be able to use this automatically for sending emails. Let me close this. Let me open the mail. It's an outstanding. I've given the URL for the thing. You can just download it. Let's say, what is it trying to do? I have this data. This you can just go to Tally, go to Billwise and export it. I have data with invoice date and invoice amount. And let's see who is the one. I picked GR Associates, right? So this, you can find a line item here, and you can see a line item here, multiple places. All that we try to do is we wanted to send a reminder. You don't need to know how this is working. I'll just say you what it is doing. By the way, in my Outlook, when I'm sending the emails, I have whenever I compose a new email, I have lot of things, lot of mail IDs, which is what I am using it. You can pick whichever is the email ID which you are using it. So basically, I am linking this data. So I have written from where you want to send an email. I am saying that I have a profile Venu Vinay. You set your profile, whichever the customers you want to send the reminder email, you can set it, and you can press this button, send bulk email to vendor. Do you want
use menu also, tab also?
Yeah, I'll show. You want to see before sending it, you can say no. Do you want to send it directly? I'll say no. So all that it will do is it will now create an email basis the data, and it is now creating this, the two lines which you can see somewhere. As you can see that I have marked, it has exactly picked wherever it is saying that, dear sir, kindly check and share. So if you have any queries, reply to this. It is giving you all of that, right? You want to say change, okay? You want to, let's say you want to give, instead of, okay, there is outstanding statement. Whatever your subject is, whatever you want to type, you can give it here, right? And Another thing which Babu was trying to point is creating your custom
Yeah.
account.
One
Right.
thing we have given these two places. Yeah, please sure. I like.
Excellent.
Yeah, why we have given these two places? If you are using 2010 and above versions, you will get enable automatically that VNV tab. Otherwise, it won't enable because of the version compatibility issue. You can use this button, command button in worksheet level. That's why we given both the options. Whatever is convenient, you can use both the places. Both commands will give same result.
Yeah. So let's I am doing it from here. Let's say bulk email, and I want to see before sending it. So I see. Now, see, if you remember in the Excel, I have changed the statement, and I'm just saying, okay, send it, ignore all, and send it. So email has been sent for 2 sellers, right? So let's see whether it has gone really. And let me just do a send receive for the emails. At least in my sent items, it should be visible. Yeah, you can see there are 2 invoices, 2 mails that have gone, right? So it should be there in my inbox. You can see it as, this is what I have sent. I have sent it to these IDs, so the mail has come. And whatever the text you want to give, you can automatically give. So this way, it saves a substantial amount of time. Either sending an outstanding reminder, sending an mails which is not matching. I have given here the subject and the first line in the body and the 3 lines for footer. You can put whatever you think is relevant to you. You can put that and you can change it and send it. This is just a basic version for you to automate the process and get an idea that how you can use this. This can be done for Gmail, but right now we have customized it for Outlook because as a finance professionals, again, most of us use Outlook as a thing. So I have shared this link in the chat, so you can automatically use that link, download that file. Otherwise, we will also send you the file at the end of the session.
Yeah, very nice, sir.
Any questions? Then lastly, using the keyboard shortcut. Babu, have you listed that?
Yes, sir. Okay. Quickly, I'll explain you usage of keyboard. Number one, if you want to work quickly, if you want to prepare your reports quickly, or if you want to do any work in system, basically you need to learn keyboard properly. You need to understand the basic of keyboard.
I will explain couple of them. See, if you can see in my screen, there are so many windows which have been opened. Yeah, and people one way always do is, okay, they open this, they deal this, they do this. There's like they try to navigate in a multiple ways, right? The forget mouse. The best is use Alt Tab. You're getting everything, and you hit that what you want to get it. You actually select that you are on it. You want to minimize all. You don't need to go to each one and press this one by one. All that you will do is your start button and hit that M. You are going to minimize all in one go. The start button and which is minimized.
Or window D also.
Yeah. So there are keywords which are very useful. If I come to
also,
yes,
please.
continue.
Yeah. And also, if you want to open your drivers or Explorer, maybe maybe most of the time we observe you will go and minimize each and every window. Now you learn that one. Maybe you can quickly minimize all the files folders with single button, window D or Alt M. Then if you want to open fresh your Windows Explorer, again window E, it will open your Explorer. Alt window E. you can able to connect your drivers quickly. Otherwise, you need to go shortcuts, some other things. This is very useful buttons, window D, window E, you can work quickly. See, if you press
So my
A,
start and E, if I press, automatically a new Explorer opens automatically.
quickly
So
you can,
I don't need to do anything. So Excel, the keyboard shortcuts are very important.
yes.
And
Then
when you're here inside, you want to create new thing. Many people again will come back, right click and everything. All these shortcuts are available.
yeah,
If you want to open an
Control
Excel,
Shift N, it will create new folder. Control Shift N. You don't need to use your mouse. Again, you need to find your mouse, you need to go to top and you need to click that one. 3 actions. Instead of 3 actions, if you hand in your keyboard, quickly just press Control Shift N, it will create new folder. You can just give your whatever name you want.
you want to open Excel, Word, Notepad, all that you do is start R button. So it is executing a command. You want to open a PowerPoint, you just type PowerPoint, a new PowerPoint will get open. You want an Excel, you type Excel, a new Excel will get open. So the start command will automatically give you opening certain things in a faster way.
Yes. Suppose if you are in browser, yeah, this is very useful functions. Window D, window E, Control Shift N for creating new folder. Then the run is very useful for function. Otherwise, maybe you need to go to that Windows page. There you need to select Microsoft Office modules. Then there you need to go and select Excel. Otherwise, you need to click right click new. Then you need to click on new Excel workbook. Instead of doing these are all activities, just press window or it will open run. Just press Excel, type Excel and enter, it will open your Excel file. It is very useful. If you know this 5 to 10 shortcuts, you can work very quickly. This is you can note and check every day your activities is depending on this 5 shortcuts only. You are wasting your time also in the same 5 shortcuts. Using mouse and searching some other locations and right click and opening new Excel files. Then another beautiful shortcuts, Control tab, Alt tab, Shift tab. This will help you to change to folder, application to application, minimize, maximize. It is very useful if you use this function. This only will help you and reduce your time almost 60 to 70% if you use properly the shortcut keys instead of mouse and other parameters. Yeah. Then browser usage. Maybe, sorry, sir. Then browser. Suppose if you are opening your Chrome extension, their first Gmail ID, second some another browser or GST website, another one your bank, another one is some bank. If you open suppose 10-20 tabs, instead of if you use mouse, it is very difficult. There it will show small right button. There you need to click up to 20th one. Instead of that one, you can use Control tab or Shift tab. It will go and it will jump quickly, and you can able to see. Then most important for a shortcut, Control W, Alt F4. Most of the time, you know, you are using mouse only to close your applications. Yeah, use these functions only. Again, I'm telling you, use keyboard. If you are from today onwards, maybe you will get by 1 week with a quick output. This is what I want to say. Again, I'm repeating you shortcut keys. Window D, Window E, Control Shift N. Window D for minimizing all the files and folders. Window E, opening of Explorer. Control Shift N, creating new folder. Window R to open new applications like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Notepad, WordPad, all the things. Then in your browser, if you have multiple tabs, it is challenging every day. Maybe if you are accountant or if you are some important person in company, maybe you may open 15-20 tabs in your browser. If you want to shift tab to tab. For example, first tab is Gmail, your last tab is your ICC bank website. If you want to go to this place to this place, you need to click forward. Instead of that one, you can press control tab button. It will jump immediately. You can go and select that one also. This is what I want to tell you. Then, if possible, you can use in browser also. Instead of searching every time your bank name or other websites, you can put favorites. You can select the top 5, top 10. So you can categorize and you can open quickly your browser and websites. It will save your time. Yeah, that's what I want to tell you using keyboards. Use just this top 10 shortcuts. You will maybe you will see the results. That's it. Thank you.
There are many shortcuts. I definitely don't want to overboard by the knowledge. Even if you learn one thing and you get it into your DNA, you are using it, it will save your time. So the objective is making the finance professionals a techno accountant so that you improve your efficiency. And I should thank Babu for taking his time in demonstrating the various functions and features. I also thank Jagdish and Ashika for preparing a beautiful presentation of the GST changes that have come in. Shailaja is asking, share the shortcuts file to all by email. Yes, these are the shortcuts which we mentioned. Even these would be shared over the email. All right, so it's the time to complete the day. We have discussed multiple things. Any questions to anyone in anything which we have discussed so far? Of course, I have taken more time than we crossed 5:30, but I should definitely thank all the participants. You are here and wanting to understand and learn something new. So thank you for your time. We will send you the copy of the recording and also the files that have been used and the presentation material for today. Feel free to write back to me if you have any questions. And I'm here for some more time. If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving the great opportunity to present the technical session.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.